It's mentioned. The word.
About 5 minutes ago.
Otherwise it was okay. Yeah. Intermission.
Intermission.
Exactly.
Okay. So then, from this state now that we've set up, expelled the stale winds and generated bodhicitta, then we are to train in our meditative concentration. So the main thing that we're training to accomplish with meditative concentration is to gain the ability to focus our mind's attention on any single given point, or to accomplish what we call single-pointed concentration. So when we're starting out for beginner practitioners, generally to do this, the prescribed method is to take a visual object, have something that you focus your gaze on, and then train to stably maintain your mind's attention on that same object as well. So through the power of one's mindfulness, to affix your attention single-pointedly on a given visual object without your mind wandering off to other things, other objects, and without your gaze wandering off anywhere. So it's doing this is you're literally affixing your mind to an object of focus and training to have the ability to keep it on that object of focus. Or we could say tethering your mind to a given object of focus, like a cow that you tie to a post. Once it's tied to that post, it's not going to go anywhere beyond where it can go around that post. It's stuck on that post. So we're trying to do that, the cow of our mind, fix it to something. And that object of focus can really, it can be anything. It's often taught that the best thing is a sacred statue, a statue of an enlightened form, or an image of an enlightened form that you take as your visual object of focus and then affix your attention to that. And when you do this, the mind's going to wander and you simply replace your attention back on the object of focus again and again. So that type of training, that type of practice is what we call the shamatha training with an object of focus. And by training in this way, then you will eventually be cultivating and accomplish the ability to remain with single-pointed concentration. So for beginners, we should start out like this. When you're just starting out, you shouldn't just try to sit remaining naturally with no object of focus, resting the mind in that state. If you do that initially, then your mind will just become dull and torpor will take over and it'll be wandering all over the place. When we're just starting out, we need this, conceptual object of focus that you're affixing your attention to.
다 너를 뒤나서 네 나랑 좋게나 참 잡고 많이 봐. 참 잡고 많이 봐. 너 잡고 많이 봐. 좀 너양 렘바 시제 보면서.
So in brief, the way to accomplish this is to not have one's mind be too tight and also to not let one's mind become too loose. So the tautness of one's mind, one's mental focus, needs to be balanced. Not too tight, not too focused, and not too loose.
다야, 맞아 또 스테리 값어. 빼나? 아니, 샘바데, 탑마소, 예행마소바.
맞아. 팁, last.
탭마소바. 빼는 거 좀 탭마용바. 아니, 양 맞춰가서는 예행마소바. 도스케는 고조 샘데베. 아니, 강산에 제기 통하나. 다 지금가는 좀 아니, 네, 그래서.
So when we're training like this, kind of in relation to this, the mind not being too tight and too relaxed. So we're meditating, the mind shouldn't become lethargic, really dull. By holding it too tightly, then it will become dull. It also should not be wandering off, wandering all over the place. So we say that when we're training in meditation, you're to abide with the mind being vivid and clear.
시작부터 봤더니 다 로마 근거 그런 거 로마 소리 몸들을 나가요. 근데 참참나 참자 참자나 러자 고소나 지 몸으로야 맞죠. 근데 시작부터 봐야 해요. 아니 다 가리는 거 로마에서 몸이하고 띵이는 거야고 유를 찍는 가려서 아니 근데 저랑 그때는 왕들의 장식이 와서 아니 오빠는 그런 미스버 해봐야겠어 그런 것만 잡아 맞이해보고 오빠는 당연히 미스버 깨라 용이 매인서 근데 오빠는 그게 야고대 참 잡아야 되는 용어요래 너 잡아야 되는 용어요래서 근데 말했어 참 자소나야 용어 말해 너 자소 빼 렘보지요는 빼 렘보지를 용어라서 대다 찍어야지. 나서 곰대야 대낭히 제거그래서. 근데 남상 내가 보니 근데 파참하는 거라서 아니 대체제네 참매게요. 남상 때는 가서 곰대서. 아니 다 이게 됐어. 근데 야보들이 남상 하고 거서래. 이래서가 대점을 내가 제거그래서.
There's one story from the time of the Buddha Shakyamuni regarding how to set up one's mind in order to accomplish meditative concentration. So the Buddha Shakyamuni was hanging around and his cousin Ananda showed up. And Ananda had been trying his best to teach the students how to meditate properly, and it just wasn't going well. And so he finally kind of gives up and goes to the Buddha and is asking the Buddha how to teach them properly, how to get their meditative concentration to improve, saying, I'm trying everything I can think of, and the students, none of them are improving. It's never going well. They either their mind gets torpor takes over, or they can't concentrate at all. They're not getting anywhere. So the Buddha asks Ananda, says, Ananda, you ever played the piwang, you know, the Indian guitar, sitar?
What?
Veena? Veena, yeah, the Veena. And Ananda says, of course. Before I became a monk, I was the great, famous, expert Veena player. Everyone knows that. I'm a fantastic Veena player. So the Buddha then continues and asks, so to get the proper sound out of the Veena, do you tighten the strings really tight, or do you have them really loose? To which Ananda says, no, if they're too tight, the sound's terrible. It doesn't come at all. If they're too loose, too, there's no sound. It has to be perfectly balanced. So to which the Buddha says, it's exactly the same with meditation. The mind must be not held too tight nor allowed to be too loose. And immediately Ananda completely understood and took those instructions back to the students and taught them, and all of their meditative concentration progressed very quickly. Point being, again, that for us to progress in our meditation, the mind must be held properly. We must find this balance between pushing too hard, holding it too tight, and allowing it to be too relaxed.
Reso grosso maimba. Teniam dela. Ngaran zu ji zimde. Chenshi de so. Taka malaba. Yang dela chenmax. Ma zu chenba de ge ta yang pa saba lo. Chenba. Chenba de ge 양 그 소반하고 제거 마더니 진도 언도 컵도 언도 영도 언도 되게 되는 거라서 잡로니 마 쳔바되게요 얘네 잘하라고 지지 소반하고 지지
So we've selected our object of focus and our visual object of focus. We have it in front of us. We're watching it. Our gaze is focused on it. Our attention's on it. Remember what we're supposed to do. Okay, I'm setting my gaze and attention on this object of focus. And then our mindfulness, a recollection of what it is we're trying to do may fade. And by simply just sitting, attending to this, then different states of the mind can sort of take over and steal away our meditative concentration. The mind can become very dull, and there can be this state of really perceiving nothing at all, like everything seems to fall away. There's no real attentive awareness going on at all. You're just simply sitting in this somewhat vacuous state. So that should be avoided. So the means to avoid that is to employ the spy of mindfulness. So we're meditating, and always, like in the back of our mind, we have the spy of mindfulness that's watching what's happening, that's being vigilant and watching, attending to how our attention is, how our focus is. Is the mind becoming lethargic and dull? Is it becoming excited and agitated? Did I become distracted? So we always have to have the spy of mindfulness, always ever vigilantly watching our meditation.
양 tel라 나 야고지 레데거도나 양 tel라티 배치서 다 야고르도 쓰는 양 tel라 배 말잖아 근데 다양 말아서 아니 참 잡죠 양 대도 봐 랑인 그냥 고서 받는 양 고파 랑인을 야유고 러시고 그거를 해봤어 연소나 저 하고 가지 하고 손에 야고래도 양 콜라 뭐다 야고래도 손이 직가가시고 근데 양절도 양 대하고요 말고 꼬꼬랑 인기요는 양 콜라 되지 꼬랑 인기야 뭐도 두스레서
And likewise, if we're sitting doing our meditation and we start to recognize, oh, this is going really well, I'm really focused on whatever it is I'm focusing on, then that can lead to the mind becoming too tight too. Our focus becomes too attentive, too narrow, too focused on the one given thing. So if that happens, we have to recognize that too, and again, allow ourselves to keep the relaxed aspect as well, to stay balanced, to simply be naturally resting with our attention affixed to the object of focus, not becoming too tight with it, and also not becoming overly elated. Oh, my meditation's going really well. This is great. It's going so good. I'm doing so good. To let that type of elation and go as well. The point is simply to rest naturally with one's attention focused wherever it is to be.
나도 스킨들이 맞아. 내가 아니 갈래 고미오나 근데 랑인 제 땡땡 근데 봐
Tenpo
땡보치 랑인 랭도 가세 있는 아직 강을 충들로 내야도 야 체도 근데 또 스키트네 차오나 근데 당 하나도 베이스 마 아니 공부를 배치하게는 거랑 또 추러오지나 근데 랑인 지금 가서 막 다른 좋아하지
By practicing like this continuously, then slowly we become habituated to the practice. Our meditation gains the aspect of stability. It gets stabilized. We become able to rest in this relaxed, balanced state of focus for extended, longer and longer durations. The difficulty, difficulty of remaining in this state of calm abiding decreases. The breadth of literally the breadth of the abiding aspect becomes vaster and vaster. We could compare it to like a stream or a river, which begins to flow slower and slower, like the flow of the water is slowing down more and more. That being said, each individual is different. We all have our own individual makeups that affect how our meditation progresses. So for some individuals, just how they're naturally made up, the abiding quality of meditation arises in them very quickly, and various different meditative experiences show up powerfully and quickly. Experiences of bliss, of clarity, of joy, of like elated, or states of great elation, just like seem to very quickly and strongly show up for them. And then for other individuals, it's really not that case at all. As much as they try, it seems nothing is progressing, nothing well is going on. It seems like the second they sit down to meditate, in that very moment of sitting down, all sorts of thoughts start proliferating fiercely and strongly in their minds. So all of that is pointing out that for different individuals, just how your natural makeup is, various different experiences arise. Yeah, so we don't really know what's going to come up, what type of meditator you're going to be once you start out. We're all kind of different. For a lot of us, we sit down and that's the best time for thinking, to wander off with our thoughts. There's this old story of this old lama, an old monk, and he was approached by this younger student that came up and was asking him about something. They had something going on, and he asked him whatever it was, we don't remember, but he's just like, yeah, you know that thing? And the older monk says, I don't remember whatever we're talking about. I don't know, some situation. I don't remember what the answer is, or yeah, where that thing is I put or something. But let me go meditate for a minute, and I'm sure it'll come back to mind.
뭔가 뒤에서 익숙한 거 아니야?
Yeah, everything you forgot long ago. You sit down and meditate, and it all comes flooding back.
다 된다고 되시면 대양 나랑 쪽은 다 나용 말했어. 아무튼 들려요 말해. 그러나 다 나랑 쪽에 가시 들었잖아요. 맞아. 버티서는 무슨 오늘 다 레도 공부 짠이 요사 말해. 다 짠이 투사 말해서 대야 레메도. 남주 나랑 쪽았더니 뒷산이 요 말해. 아참라고 진짜 싸와 니네 요 말하다 고배. 하자니 고구요 말. 며칠들의 여행도 남도도 나 남도 뛰어요 봐야 고구요 말. 고구요 말.
남쪽 직 유발이.
말이 깍불은 로데고 봐.
나.
이거 꼭하 고구 말 잖아.
나.
다 공지하고 되니 이제는 딱고 코로나랑 get대요. 되니 이제는 하 고요 와. 이 도스게 다때 하 고만 나오지. 다 뒤견도 들어 좀 맞아 봐지 용도 봐. 그래서 다 용사 말에 사소로 근데 많이 맞지. 문tun이 양 다대신 공시반 저기도 잠나 가래 양 가서 저기 잠나 되네 고 가래 고좀 땜도 줘야지 양 가서 참잖아 다지 공마저라고 제더니 양기 개념 써니 양 대도 양 대양 말한 쪽 뒤치시 다 된다고 차오는요. 대라양 지금 와서 지금 가와라고 좋아하고 대라지 셔바로 대양 맞이었지. 강달 되는 나라는 좀 빠지서로 문제 준조는 무슨 좀 봐야겠다. 제땐데 내 검도서야 제상상 가래 야도 뺀다. 춘다고 지나. 네 고소 많이 가래 강로도 모두 도시 차이. Sondos.
Often people start meditating, and when it's not going so well, they think I'm just not built for meditation. Not going to work for me. I don't have the karmic proclivity to be a meditator. It's not going to happen. It's going nowhere. So don't think like that. There's no need for it. We can all meditate, and often what's happening is when people are beginning to meditate and directly work with their mind, they're really just finally, for the first time, seeing how wild the mind has always been. Lifetime after lifetime, our mind has been filled with thoughts racing, running after each other all over the place, being distracted by every little thing, thoughts here and there, all the time. But we haven't been aware of it. We haven't understood that. We haven't seen it. So when we're meditating, often we're just, for the very first time, becoming acquainted with that's how we've always been. So again, what we needed is what we were talking about before. We need diligence. You have to just stick with it. And through the power of simply having diligence, meaning simply diligently not giving up, continuing the practice, then slowly and slowly you progress. Slowly your practice becomes stabilized. It becomes more and more stable. Then on the other side too, there's the issue of pride and arrogance coming up. Oh, my practice is going really well. I'm having these different meditative experiences. I'm so blissful, clarity, my mind is so vivid and clear and so forth. We have all these different special experiences that we have the danger of taking pride in them, which also must be avoided. Having a great sense of like joy and delight in how well practice is going can be troublesome and dangerous. So again, the point is to just simply train to sustain the continuity of your continuous practice. And if you do that, then for all of us, progressively the practice becomes more and more profound, more and more excellent, more and more deep. Again, just like the water analogy of the mountain stream or some body of water, generally or flowing at first fast and then slowing down.
샘긴 돌아야 생겨디. 맞아 샘든 돌아야 돼. 샘긴 돌 보러마도 얘나 너tum 가서.
So with meditation, we talk about taming the mind, or the mind becoming tamed. So the only thing that can tame our mind is our own mind. There's nothing else capable of taming, transforming our mind.
벤네트는 대답을했어. 알아서 딱딱고 저 돌고나 탑케베 토니 당고 zongne 가래 가래 라와를 쭉 가래 가래는 땅 가는 속에 얘네 시와 차는 가와를 튀튀 다신 가래제 튀 가래제는 제 투바치 차르고 맞아 샘대 대 저지레스 얘네 탑 해봐지 제가 그냥 와서 때 돌음 투바치 요 말에 내가 용사 말에 상고 말에 예전에서 제고 그랬어.
Our mind is quite similar to a wild horse, taming a wild horse. So we've all heard stories of individuals that are masters at taming horses, where through various different skillful means, they're able to totally transform what begins as a wild horse into something that you can do anything. You can ride it, you can lead it anywhere you want. So first you have to capture the horse, and then you put it in an enclosure, and then progressively, slowly, there's a process that will lead from the horse being completely wild to being a tame horse. And the mind is really exactly like that. So we, through applying skillful methods and becoming expert in methods to tame and transform our own mind, then there's nothing and nobody that cannot be tamed and transformed. Point being that don't give up on your meditation practice. Just put a little effort into it.
얘네 다 지당 그 준데 내가 좀 공기업들랑 많이 봐라 양 되네 배도 주스는 저 공시듯이 야야 사드 로드 내가 제대 그래서 참 말아요 그것도 되지 제발이나 아니 지금 알아서 막 아니 대스 샘 젬바틱 이제 소지 야제네 네 가래 고소 냠는 게는 참참나 냠네 그다랑 가서 봄비에 대야발래죠 양때 보어도 치워드려요 가래서는 거다 지 저런 탐치 기능 지 드라민다 기 지어도 없어요 참참나 냠는다고 미세요
In general, we should train to make this practice of meditation a continuity through all of our activities. Whatever it is we're doing, practice to not be distracted when we're eating, when we're walking, going somewhere, when we're at work, doing work. Whatever activity it is we're doing, take with us the friend of mindfulness. Being mindful of what we're doing, training to do everything with this sense of mindfulness and not being distracted in any given activity. When you do that, then often what can happen is that that type of practice really can be even stronger practice than when you're actually sitting on your cushion doing your formal meditation. It can be a very powerful enhancement to your ability to remain in a state of meditative concentration. And often you'll have various different powerful experiences by training to not be distracted, to have this meditative concentration feature in all of your conduct, all of your activities.
다 이지 응아지 고도 가르세 박차즈 담에는 오지 가이다 가시냐 님마 가르세 지가 장코 가시 되게 나와 지금 와서 배 리스 차기네요 담보 휴들의 차기 근데 용동에 근데 용도 그래서 다 찍고 지금 예바로 가는 거
Also, depending on whatever your individual habitual imprints in your mind stream may be, contingent upon having excellent or negative habitual imprints in your mind. And for some practitioners, they can gain great stability in meditative concentration doing very ordinary things. Chumi. Are there any questions?
When focusing on an object like a statue, can it also be, can it be like a candle flame? Is there a difference between like looking at a flame and looking at a statue?
Miki yul chine drubyaki chedi dene niki wangovi yul mipa yul chik shagna yabores sungsong dene ku yaksheres inayang ku kitsabla marme shakna dene kepar yuna dan kecher midrawa yuna
그거를 가리려는 그래 마음이 자는 그래 그는 영 간사 다다 가실 때 미세 마음에 근데 야 그래도
So whatever you'd like is totally fine. Candles permissible. There are some that I particularly like. They have an affinity for using a candle as the object of focus. So yeah, candle's fine. Whatever you'd like is fine.
아니 지당에 대해서도 당연히 당국값서 빼내다 차당도 열어오지 근데 많이 받지 빼내다 지당이 들어오죠 봐 당연하지 빼내다 사도 신들이 들어오지 빼내다 하는 저거 들어오 지당이 빼내다 하는 저 빼니 되도 좀 빼나 다 맞고 빼나 아니 알았어요 가로 포도 포만나서 나오지잖아 양 콜라면서 생되게 양 코페트 주스 되는 차이로 와 양콜은 무조지게 즉 차과지 오는 거 양은 잘로지 잡으면 양콜을 직접 가와 당선지 오는 거 들려요 다 아니 리소가 당고의 값
Dongsenpe tempo chagire.
당고의 값은 있는데 열 때문에 배스 당용구 열로 야구를 해서 뭐보다简单 수준 비하더니 양 믹스지네요 도스지네요 딱게지야 그래시지네 책서 송도
So that being said, you said any object, anything you want. Generally, it's taught that when you're starting out, your object of focus shouldn't be something you have a particular affinity to or aversion to. Don't use a picture of your girlfriend or boyfriend. So it's often taught that using just like an ordinary inanimate thing may be best. A piece of earth, rock, plant, or something. Just an inanimate thing that you have no particular feeling towards in either direction. You have a picture of your girlfriend or boyfriend, then immediately that stirs up attachment and longing for them, desire, that then will carry you away. You have some object of something you don't like, or an enemy or something right in front of you, then you're carried away by hostility in the mind. So when you're first starting out, You should definitely use something that it's just equal. It's just an object that you're training to focus your concentration on. But then in the future, there are instructions and meditation guidance manuals where you do take objects that you have a strong liking or disliking for in order to work with that and investigate that.
난 내가 되는 지금 와서 배 아니 때지는 때가 있어 난 내가 내가 다 코를 버티고 있고 되는 말들 근데 다 마찬가지는 그런 말을 야고 되니까 거기 네 들으세요 아니 샘지다 코니는 파지 대차로 누구도 영향이 없는 거 봐. 샘 대양 하람 되는 우주 잡 속반다고
미투바.
하람 되니 대가랑 아버지 그 이내야 따로 인피니티스 다지 방 고시로 잡소는 되니 아직 있으나 미제나 지가 좋은 거래고 삼선으로 되지 혼도 마도 는 남도 어떤데 또 주서 치료를 해서 싸와 있는 거서 뭐지 받더니 영혼도 와 근데 같더니 하람 다지 딱 와라고 제발이나 하나는 맥대한 우주자와 사만상도 수고 대한 도스키는 된 하나는 되니까 진정한 때문에 차이도 되니 때라 봐서는 진정한 망고지 차이도 가서 되니 되게 값서 막 내샤도 쇼킹 버리는 데서 내년도 선년도서 쇼킹 차이도 와 되니 뭐 아저씨 뭐 당가 되니 당가는 지시 위치 차서 싸움제
Rinpoche says when he first really started meditating, he was in prison. And his object of focus that he took was from the wall in the room that he was staying in, there were some nail holes. Nails had been removed, there were just holes there. So that was the object for his focus, holes in the wall. So that's what he'd rest his mind and gaze on. And his mind and those holes really like mixed, intermingled as one. And he trained quite well. The abiding quality of his meditation became very strong, powerful. He would have a strong sense of not wanting to move anywhere, like at all, like just wanting to remain perfectly there. And also at times it seemed that even if he wanted to move, he couldn't move the body. At times there'd be kind of a sense of, oh, if somebody comes, they're going to disturb this, stir me out of this state. In his mind, he would stay in this state for extended periods, hours, remaining like this, with his body perfectly still, abiding, his mind still, his gaze still. And because the abiding quality of meditation was getting very strong and stable, then as an automatic byproduct of that, various different meditative experiences, like those of deep states of bliss and clarity, limpidity of mind and consciousness were blazing forth in him. So then, likewise, accompanying those types of kind of grand meditative experiences, his pride was growing quite a bit too. He was saying, wow, I'm really getting somewhere now. I'm fantastic, spiritual rock star.
삼상 그게 차도 삼상아 되니 다 대로배 먹는 치 누구 매배 나와라고 되는 삼 치기도 나 삼상 사고 치기도 나는 시차를 인사를 삼기는 나랑 누구 여매 나랑 요구해 되 차도 나랑 누구 도에 되 나 시차를 인사를 원래 치기 다시 듣는 거 저기 남시 그게 로드 써서 하나는 다 감각 매매 나와들 샤고도 같이 해도 그래서 그 삼상 나랑 누구 되니 여매 딱 왜 되 차도 그 땡인데 생에도 그 뭐니 발생이 있는데 여기다 그러셔. 어떻게 되지? 이 들으냐면 수수이 되는 라지 쟤는 까래 갖고 나오지랑 지 많이 받아 공부가 지 나지 그 통통하고 나는 지고 양는데 콜라고 아티야 배도 지서 지다 대중 맞죠 제가 사바는 거죠 미세 강에도 용가들은 정말 망고요 들을까 년도 참매 봤더니 대서 감전 쇼도 그렇지 진짜 지원도 가서 되네 등상을 데려오다 용험을 와 다 데려 가서 딱 빼서 줘서 같이 가서 다 생기 때문에 다 제지고 다 삼은 옛날에 다 전에 요마로 근데스키 야보지 뭐는데 뭐니 진짜 통통하게 나나지 처음이라 등상도 다 사야면 봐 차로
All sorts of different experiences arose in that time, meditating like that. Sometimes there would be, I would have this sense that my body was completely gone and dissolved away. There was no experience of my physical body. Sometimes I'd wonder if I had died already, that I'd died, the body had gone, and my consciousness was wandering about. And sometimes during these experiences, I'd have to check myself to make sure the body was still there. I'd have no sensation of the body whatsoever. And then, oh, yeah, body's still there, okay. So all sorts of different things were arising in that particular phase of training like this in calm, biting meditation. And I really saw that it's 100% for sure that training simply in meditative concentration, there are different powers, abilities that arise out of that. Even from relatively short periods, a short duration of practicing intensely, that you can really get, different experiences, different capacities, powers can come forth from that. That was my personal experience. But for me back then, it was a quite different situation. I was in prison and I was really like a new Dharma practitioner. I was quite young. But I was in prison where it was extremely difficult and there wasn't anything else to do. I was able at that time to practice day and night continuously and just focus on that, away from the problems of prison at the time. And by doing that in quite a short period of time, I was able to progress quite a bit. And that's possible for everyone when you're really assiduously practicing, that quite quickly results start to come about. Today, on the other hand, is a totally different story. I have none of that anymore. And these days, practitioners, it's difficult. It's to practice like that, free of all distraction, really put yourself into just practicing, doing nothing else, training to focus the mind, to abide and accomplish single-pointed meditation. But if you do, the results do come quite quickly. But today, all gone.
I would like to hear you talk about the importance of proper breathing as you start with your meditative practice.
Like as you're actually sitting doing your thing.
Yeah.
Meditation becomes Lojong becomes Jung Chetang Kare Tangure Jung Tang Tang de Neka So Chik Sung Jung.
아야 어떻게 야고도 다 다가를 셔. 나티 문제지는 게 다티 문제 시작을 때가 말이야. 저런 거 야차 손지 배야고도 있어.
Great question. Perfect question, actually. I was planning on talking about that. I seemed to slip my mind, and now you've reminded me, so great.
근데 뭔가 것도 재미있어. 그런다고. 베나테닝 아랑 쪽에 쪼데 아주 그 롱데서마 그래도 제통나 근데 샘데 거랑 인게 것도 내려도 와 근데 손상 그냥 말하는 쪽으로 변해 주세요. 아니 데라 변은 말하는 쪽으로 뭐 그것을 파악하래 하지 하파 그냥 가세 데데 때 시초를 야제진 그 친생세요. 양 때죠 저를 몸네요 때 가세 대해서는 또 스캔 근데 뭐 때야 나도 이제 많이 봤다가 세다 나도 칸이 도스게 된다고 지행인데 뭐랑 힘이 되대 아니 샘데 베르지야 배치 봅시다도
Calm abiding, this type of meditation we've been talking about, calm abiding, shamatha meditation. Really, it's generally it's a practice that precedes other main practices, a foundational practice, a preliminary practice. So when we're training in this practice, we should work with the breath. So it's when the breath or the subtle energies that ride along the breath are relaxed, then automatically the mind finds its state of natural abiding and becomes relaxed. So when we're practicing, when we exhale, the breath, and generally we're breathing through the mouth, both with the inhalation and exhalation. So when we exhale, it should be primarily through the mouth, and we should pause at the end of the exhalation for really as long as is comfortable. This is called an external holding of the breath, literally, which isn't a firm hold, it's just a relaxed pausing at the end of the exhalation. And then you inhale, and then likewise at the end of the inhalation, you should pause for a moment, for as long as is comfortable, to just relaxedly, naturally pause the end of the inhalation, and then again exhale. So that's how you should breathe when we're training in this calm abiding practice. And then by doing that, it really is a very powerful method to calm and relax the mind. So that method, that style of breathing, is primarily a method for relaxing oneself. So by using that, though, then there is the danger, the risk that you become too relaxed and it puts you to sleep. So there is one particular instruction to help you not fall asleep when you're breathing like this and really focusing on the breath like this. And it's simply to count the breaths. Say I count 21 breaths is a pretty standard number that you're counting. So by adding this aspect of counting the breaths, breathing like this, then you're keeping this aspect of attentiveness and mindfulness that will help keep you awake. In the ancient Tibetan system called the Kadampa tradition of mind training, Kadampa Lojong, you start out with this instruction on fixating the attention on one's respiration, which is mindfulness of your breathing. And you're instructed to count 21 breaths without losing track. So I'm just pointing out that that's a really the function of that is to keep you awake. Don't get distracted. Keep perfect track of how many breaths, because that keeping track keeps you focused.
Any questions
No.
from here? To assume. When the mind starts to slow down, I feel stupid with fewer to no thoughts. Does this happen?
Sem second.
No.
Sem namto parwa date. This daupo chak shinki kapsu. Mama le rikpa noa maimpa chagi ore. This kupa dao chagi yopadra. Kyab shinki kapsu de dao chagi ore.
Jabdu kapsu.
Namto nyungwa chagi ore. Tene sem kupa dao chagi ore. Rikpa novo maimpa. Rikpa yakwa maimpa chagi ore.
Te rawa. Chitang ke sem ke tangwa lemro na. Rikpa kupa chagu ma. Ina nampo yuwa te nyungu rungwa. Ina yang samsana te ina yang samsana mukwa singe te noya warwa.
Dangwa mepe.
Gonga na chen muk tapsom singe jorwa. Ta chi soga yang samsana tene nyamlen der chirga shira unya me pasabo me kadogina. Te samsana yang chingwa se. Chikpa chepsungelo. Mukwa se te tapsuma dawina. Te so yang te si. Yane bonjun raw tsigre. Ina yang le tangbo we kapsu tra mira yongore te la tene. Samsana le tangbo we kapsu nicha te zobo tangyo re. Nicha te shokjiwa ti kapsu te raw te si ne. Nicha te kachiwa te raw tene. Nicha te tapya te shokjiwa yongwa.
Only parcel.
Now, 내가 다 당분 값을 내차한테 떼서 쫄 쇼 너무도
나.
야, 얘만 대한 코스 떼서 봐 세는 마도 네가 거기다 와서 가서 공부 좀 봐. 지목 탑송세. 거 봤으니 남도 오는 쪽에 내 쇼부터 때때로 거 봤어. 근데 지금 와서도 미사라. 타바시도 되는 배트에서 그렇게 뭐 이 사람 이거 공부. So some different things.
So generally speaking, with meditation, we are looking to have the vivid quality of mind present. Dhamma, vivid. So like vivid, clear, wakeful consciousness is what you're after with meditation. So when you have that, then no, you won't feel dumber. Even when conceptual proliferation or thought proliferation is decreasing in the mind. So that's what you're after. That being said, there are different, what we call the flaws of one's meditation practice that can arise and that you'll work with and work through. And they're near synonyms of each other in English. They're like dullness of mind, torpor of mind, and like fogginess of mind. So these three can come up, particularly when you're training in shamatha, meditative concentration. And they're lacking like clarity. The mind just isn't clear. There's a haziness to the mind. Or there's this like pervasive dullness where everything is like dull and not clear. Or there is the like falling inward, literally, where the mind and consciousness kind of collapse in on themselves and you get very dull in mind or fall asleep even, or very close to falling asleep. So these, when we're starting out training in shamatha, we really need to be focusing more on the abiding quality of our meditation, of the mind to be able to gain this abiding aspect where it can just remain. And when you're doing that, initially, it can, the mind can be like duller, foggier, and not so clear, not so smart and bright, but that actually kind of needs to be gone through when you're still in the beginning phases of meditation, in order to gain stability of the abiding aspect and to focus more on the abiding aspect. We'll naturally can have these parts of dullness of mind. But then once we progress in our practice and go through going through the phases of meditative experiences, bliss and clarity and so forth, then any sense of this dullness of mind, lethargy of mind, or closing in on itself, our consciousness needs to be cleared away for the sake of bringing up the vivid quality of consciousness. And so those are like the three of the primary types of faults that can arise in meditation. Then the other being we call mental excitation, mental agitation, where the mind is just overwhelmed with thought proliferations and is all over the place and can't remain focused on anything.
그래서 이 기초 이 상도스 되니 아무데 다치면서 나도 교과 되는 거지. 살아가 왔어요. 근데 다른 거는 아직 다다다 내된 데가 됐어. 놓고는 다다 살아가 말해도 와. 내된 데가 Untuk di dalam bama di solusi ini ada solusi.
Nah,
dan nggak yang ada zaman lah cina tu lah, ada kari yang lah. Ini deso nala pe mixek cucian deso nala jom kita sedang ya boleh ada ta. Ini sanjin bomje bitu tu cek tu lah. Ini mixek itu ni kalau satu cek jom ada tu pada. Ada soal kerja ni mixek itu ni. 그마다 아니 근데까지 지친 숨좀세다 근데기다 대시라든 기술 개진 보여래 근데 다른 다람나 팽에 근데다 제가 이용해 되는 참마가 근데 도대체 써야다 근데 냠네 야고 나오쇼 근데 참마 근데 양 팽king in jail, nothing about me. No, I have a long loss.
so it seems we've run out of time. Our time's up for this session. And coming up is what in Tibetan we call Sagadawa, which is the holiest month of the Buddhist year. So right now, we're currently in the Sagadawa, this holy month, according to the Nigden calendar, which is the lunar calendar based on the most Hinayana traditions. But in the Tibetan tradition calendar, Sagadawa, the holiest month of the year, the fourth month of the lunar year is coming up, about to start. And the whole month is considered to be the holy month, a very auspicious time for engaging in spiritual practice, in particular on the days of the 1st to the 15th day of the month. This month also is said to commemorate the anniversaries of the three great occasions of the Buddha Shakyamuni's life. So the three of the most auspicious dates of the Tibetan Buddhist calendar year fall within this month. So it's a very good month to engage in your spiritual practice and meditation. So Rinpoche says thank you all for coming, those of you that were physically able to make it here, and those of you able to attend via the internet, thank you for coming. Tashidalek, his auspicious wishes, and I will see you next time. Until we meet again, please practice well.
That's all. Thank you, Billy.
谢谢。
네, 다만 말하는데, 나 개와서 겁니다. 그냥 가서 몸제 기술로 라마서 아니서는 때 시에나 야사를 해서. 딱 몸제 저서서 개와게 나서다 아니 그걸 좀 같이 해 봤어.
So now at the conclusion, this session, we are all to dedicate the virtue that we've engaged in, and dedicate all virtue on behalf of all sentient beings. So we were, I was thinking we would meditate, engage in the virtuous activity of meditation here, but I kind of changed my mind and thought it'd be best to say a little more, speak a little more this session. So I encourage all of you to meditate and practice on your own, and maybe our dedication of the virtue of meditation, that we can dedicate the virtue you're going to be engaging in, meditating on your own right now as well.
미세기 인터넷에 되는 것도 투지체라고 네가 하는 소리에 거기가 뭐 트레이드 봤어. example 가와이네 코치에버 찍으면 왔어. 그거 가서 되네.
And a particular thank you to the internet, which gives us all sorts of opportunities. Wherever we may be in the world, we can attend teachings. So thank you to the internet.
상기는 뭐 진출이 제조스가 초가사까지 철로. 맞죠? 진출도 맞죠? 민도 खूब 진출 되는.
So before, Buddha Shakyamuni, through his miraculous abilities, was able to manifest himself and teach everywhere, all over the world, all over the universe. So we personally don't have that power, but it is this master, the internet, that does have this power to emanate all over the world.
야, 이렇게 취소는 들었어, 미 마음고 열어서. 수수 그게 고고도 와. 양 되는 같은 상고서 뜻을 이니 달리려면 돼서 그것도 말 같이지야 나온데가 미드서 가서 수수 보서 암비올 게 거는데 수수께 고고도 와. 야 도에 지금 동무도 이네 드라스 참 지키는 상계의 인터넷에 보내 조케바 인사레스. 이네 코란 찍기 저를 봤대만 말은 와서 갑니다.
상계기 인터넷
기기는 그런 인터넷에서 개발 인사에서 그런 타고만 그렇게 인터넷에 그런 메시지 왔어요.
So also the Buddha Shakyamuni is said to be able to teach, and the recipients of the teachings, they could be from all different realms, all different countries and so forth. And they would hear the teachings miraculously in their own language, perfectly, crystal clear. These days I've heard of teachings, Dalai Lama in particular, giving teachings, and listeners seem to automatically somehow with their little hearing devices hear the teaching in their own language, even if they can't see the teaching, see the Dalai Lama teaching, they're able to listen in their own language. It's amazing. The wonders of the internet. Maybe the Buddha Shakyamuni had the miraculous powers of being expert at the internet, like in his mind or something.
나서
Page 12.
Korbe Shinganzo, Pendeva, Jumene, Jeren,
Zuan Tenzin Yamsa Yeshabe Sude Bado Den Yuji Omso Den Gyawa Joya Yeshi Yame Jurtame Jingbe Yanse Radoma Koje Jedu Sama Dite Kuze Anda Dede Yesho Page 14 Lama Kukan
Sama Sovane, Jodo, Kotere, Masovane, Kime, Taji, Geba, Sovane, Lama, Sangawane, Brajinge.
At this very moment, for the people of nations of this earth, may not even the names, disease, famine, war, and suffering be, but rather may pure conduct, merit, wealth, and prosperity increase, and may supreme good fortune and all the people. No, daughter is on. 11. Chamber Yam La Yame Tokyo Time Roger, Kyo, Kondo, Lama, Deme,
Chujo, Pala, Longjun, Salam, Jera,
Seems like the very top